Susan Roberti, and welcome. Welcome to Let's Talk Tail Waggers. I have our favorite guy here today. John, the guy with the birds, is here. He's got some very, very wonderful stories, some sad stories, and we're going to learn a lot like we always do about birds. But before we get started, I want to say thank you to my cameraman. Thank you, sir. You know, BPTV is all volunteers, and you are more than welcome to come up and do a show. Come up and learn how to do cameras. It's wonderful. You can come up and just visit and see how we do things. But it's a lovely corner of the world. And if you ever had it deep inside your heart, I'd like to do a TV show, stop up. Maybe we can help. So now I'm going to do business first because I get so excited about John being here, and I like to be able to go to the end. So I wrote myself, don't forget the Washington Area Humane Society. Please send blankets, towels, sheets, anything that you don't want to give to the homeless. Please send it down to the Washington Area Humane Society. If you have any food, they always can use money, but I know some of us, it's hard up for money. So if you have sheets, towels, pillow, anything that they can use to wrap the puppies in or for surgery or anything, it would be so appreciated. Pets for Vets, U.S. Vets, Pets for U.S. Vets. This is an organization that Susie Smith started and has invited me aboard. And I am just so pleased to be a part of it. And if you have, and this is, I am going to ask you, if you have any money, please send it. Because when the vets come in, they can pick any dog or cat and they don't have to pay for it. That's what it's all about. It's a broken heart. For a broken heart makes a whole heart. And we really and truly need some money, more money, because our fund is getting low. Because people have been coming and adopting dogs and kitty cats. It's like unreal. I think we've gotten 40 some already adopted. So if you can, just a few dollars will help. Anything will help. And I have to talk about the kitty cat that I had on my last show, Iceland, nicknamed Ice. She got it home right after the show aired. I'm so very happy. Lynette called and said that she got her home. And thank you to the family that came and got her, because she was a little doll baby, as everybody could see. So I think, and it's summertime and it's hot. Remember, water for our pets. Water, change their bowl all the time. Fresh water. Put ice cubes in it if you think of it. That is the most important thing than the food. But water is so very, very important. So now that I got the business over with, hi, John.
Hello, Susie.
I am so happy to see you. I really am. I truly am.
I'm glad you got all that finished. Do we have any more time?
That's why I wanted to get it done and over with.
All right, and you know it's always a pleasure to be here on Tail Waggers, and so nice to see you again.
Yeah, so I heard you had some bad news.
Oh, well, we had a little mishap at home. Our home and car were struck by lightning a few weeks ago, and it's put a havoc on some things, but everything works out in the end, as you know. The birds are okay, the family's okay,
and that's all that
main
matters.
Thing. So
okay.
We're doing fine.
So let's get started.
Okay. What are we going to talk about first?
What would you like
here?
to talk about first?
All right. Today, instead of a lot of the rescue stories, some of the things that people learn and don't learn when they purchase a parrot. There are a lot of pet industry myths out there that the pet store will tell you certain things, and I've always wondered, where did these things come from? when you buy a bird, usually the first thing they do is cut its wings. Now, that's one of the most important things that the bird needs, is his wings for his health and for his flight. When you take that away and cut a bird's wings, they will start to bite. They are fearful of everything. You've taken away the one thing that helps them to escape from danger. So, cutting wings, it's controversial because a lot of people have the birds in their home, ceiling fans, open windows, and if you don't take the time to train the bird on a recall to come back to you, you can certainly lose the bird, and most people think, hey, it's just easier, clip them wings. And you have to understand, their behaviors.
Big responsibility.
Exactly. One other thing right away is covering a bird's cage. No one goes into the rainforest, climbs 250 feet in the air, and puts a little cover over the bird's tree hollow. You take away their sight and their vision, and it's not a good thing. These are prey animals. Their eyes are on the side of their head, and they need sight every place they go, day and night. When you cover their cage, and most people will say to me, well, my bird's making a lot of noise, and I cover his cage and he's real quiet. He thinks it's time to go to bed and he's all safe and snuggly. Well, really not the case. When you take away a prey animal's sight, you are taking away their world. And being a prey animal, they are terrified when they cannot see beyond that cage. And so many people think, well, you just cover the cage up and the bird feels all safe and secure. But not really so. And so many people, they see these birds in the pet stores, and they really need to get more education than what some of the stores can provide, because a lot of the people are not taking anything away from the younger people who want to learn about these birds. It's just they need a little more education so they can properly put out the education. Times that I do go in stores and I listen to them talking about birds to other people, and I just think, why would they say something like that? Why would they tell these people these types of things, to cut the wings, to cover the cage, and so many other points? And of course, we keep the mouth shut, and we don't want to cause any problems with the pet stores. Mm-hmm. But to me, every bird here is a living, breathing creature. There is not the money in the world to buy any one of these birds. And I tell people that at my shows. We have signs up to say the birds are not for sale, and still people ask, well, I want to buy this bird. How much would you take for this bird? And it's sometimes very hard to put out that my feelings about these birds, they are my kids. So
They are.
yes, they are.
That's it, folks.
Now, see, I talk too much.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
But on that note, I would like to introduce I had my right-hand girl here last time, Shelby. This is my right-hand man, Kenny Sprouse, and Kenny helps me with all of the long-distance programs when we do a lot of the pet expos and things out of state, and I am always so comfortable when Kenny is there. He has birds himself, and he can share a little story about when he first got into the birds and a bird that he had when he was a little younger.
I started out actually just like about everybody else does. I had cockatiels when I was a kid, and I always said, one day I'd really love to get a larger parrot. And about 12 years ago, long before I knew John, or I found an umbrella cockatoo similar to like Poppy, who's been on the show before. His name's Captain Morgan. I paid $800 for him in his cage. Wow. I thought it was the greatest thing in the world, and I brought him home. I had done some research prior to, but I honestly really had no idea what I was getting into. And I brought him home, and I set up a nice area for him, and I was scared to death. That beak is very intimidating. They can take off fingers and they don't give them back. So it took a few weeks, and the place where I purchase bird food as well as John C&B Birds, I had gone in there and had spoke to some people, and they said, "Oh, you should meet John. He's full of information." And I was very, very lucky to have met John, and he's really guided me along the way and explained things from the bird's point of view, which is how he looks at things, and now I do as well. Trying to understand what the bird is thinking it's difficult. It really is. It's like having a 2-year-old child who can't tell you what I need, and you need to figure that out. A funny little story, when I got Morgan, we were talking about screaming, and it was a spring day. I had the windows open, and I had a lot of things going on around the house. Morgan was in his cage, and he wanted attention. He wanted my attention, and I was busy, so he started to scream. And you walk into the room, and he would quit. Well, I'd go out of the room, he would start, and it just gets very, very, very loud. And the next thing I know, I hear a knock on my door. And I opened the door, and it's a lady who I've never seen before. I live in town, and she says, "Are you beating a child in there?" And I said, "Oh my goodness, no." I said, I have a new parrot, and I had to bring Morgan out and explain to her. And she said, "I live a block and a half away, and I could hear him." And I said, "Oh my goodness," and I apologized up and down. And thankfully, the neighbors that I have, because I now have many, many more birds, but they're
like
very
somebody
understanding,
else.
right? Yeah. But that's how I got started, and like I said, fortunately enough, in just doing research and education with John, I can't stress enough, even with the smallest of birds, if anybody is interested in getting a bird, it's not that we condone owning birds, but please, please, please do your homework. It's very, very important, and to understand the motions they go through and what they can.
And talk to many people
Absolutely.
that know about birds.
That's right. That's right.
Yes.
Very good, Ken.
Yes, thank you.
Come here, sweetheart.
Whoop. This is gorgeous.
Well, we're going to introduce this little girl here is Mango. Mango's called a sun conure. These birds you see very popular in the pet stores and a lot of breeders. The thing with this bird is, and something else that the pet store won't tell you or the breeder, when this bird gets a little bit older and starts to mature, it has a screech that'll curl your hair. Can you tell I know about it?
Yes.
And the screeching, or the screaming as people put it, it's communication. These birds are flock animals. They live in enormous flocks. A lone bird, a lone parrot in the wild or the forest is a dead parrot. When they do not have their own kind to identify with, to talk with, they call. When breeding season kicks in, they call for a mate. And when that mate doesn't answer, well, they're going to call a little bit louder, a little bit longer. And so many people is like, what do I do?
And it's not like a
What-
robin.
Right. What can I do about it? Well, the thing is, it's a natural behavior. And it's something you need to know before you think about purchasing the parrot. We've been using Mango in our programs now. And very friendly, has really come around. She was actually a breeder bird as well. But now she steps on people. She likes to sit on your head too as well.
Little girl.
And the kids just love it when we're able to put the birds on their head.
If you
And-
ever get a chance to go and see his shows, they are absolutely out of sight.
Well, thank
Truly,
you.
they are.
And the one bird we have in all of our programs, Nikki here, Nikki, people ask me, do you have a favorite bird of all the birds you've taken in? And I could never name one as a favorite, but I do have some special birds. And this is one special bird right here. This is Nikki. And Nikki, called the African gray parrot from the Congo of Central Africa. Nikki is 41 years old. I was 19 years old when Nikki hatched from her egg. Give you a little idea how old I'm getting to be. But Nikki is our trademark bird and goes to all the programs. Now, Nikki really doesn't care to be handled like some of the other birds do, but people sometimes just do not understand the longevity of how long these birds can live. I have people that knew me as a young man and say, you had a bird just like that. And I have to tell them, that's the same bird. So, yeah, these medium-sized birds, 50 to 80 years. The large macaws, 100 years. You have to make those provisions because if the care is proper, they're going to be around a lot longer than you are. But, yeah, that's our one very special bird.
Gorgeous, gorgeous. Now
Nikki.
comes that one that I think is the most beautiful. Oh, you're not bringing the baby down.
Oh, that's okay. We have a very unique rescue story.
Uh-oh.
This is Becca. Becca is called the hyacinth macaw. These are the largest of all the parrots.
I wish you could see this bird.
And people are afraid of some of those smaller beaks. Well, look at that can opener right there. That beak can break the hardest nuts in the world with one little bite. It can snap an arm in half. And Becca here, she was in a pet store. These birds bring large dollars, as much as $20,000. These birds are nearly extinct in the wild, and there's probably more in captivity than there are in the wild. And people want to breed them because they bring such a high price. And if you can get between $10,000 and $20,000 for a bird like this, but not many people out there want to spend that kind of money on a bird. And Becca here ended up being stolen from a pet store. Supposedly, we say, because she turned up a while later, and I have a couple pictures here of the conditions that she was in, and you can actually see there's some dogs in that. There were other birds, but this place was just full of garbage. And her cage was also one filthy mess. And it's amazing because these birds' digestive system, respiratory system is so delicate. It's amazing she's doing as well as she is. You can see she is missing some feathers. We haven't had her all that long, but she is coming around. And now, you know, the fact that she's allowed to be a bird, what she was created to be, not confined in a small cage where she can't even open her wings. And she's been going to some of the programs too. We're starting to get a little more brave to bring her to some of the outside programs because, as I said, all these birds are flighted.
And all the birds that you've ever brought, this is the first one I'm afraid of. I mean, not I'm not afraid. I mean, I just realize.
Yeah,
That's a big beak.
When you see them that close, yes, a parrot this large, when you see them that close, it is
the
very...
other guys I'm never afraid of, but wow.
Okay,
I wish you could see her feathers up close. Oh, is she gorgeous?
You want to come too?
Ooh, now my heart can stop.
This is the second largest of all the parrots. This is the green-winged macaw. This is Alvy, and Alvy is another bird who spent many years in a pet store. And because of the way they kept her, her wings were cut. They kept her in a small cage. She became very aggressive. And she would start to bite, start to scream. And she went through daily torment. People go in the pet store, oh, look at the parrot. And they poke at her and try to get her to talk. And, of course, nobody's going to buy a big macaw that you can't get near. Again, with that can opener on their face. So she never sold. She was left behind at the pet store. And she was actually offered to the Philadelphia Zoo, and they didn't want her. They said, we can't have a mean bird.
Oh.
Well, Alvy's now 23 years old. This large bird I can hand to a 2-year-old child when we do preschool classes. She would not hurt anybody, and she is very well
And all she
socialized.
needed was some love
That's exactly.
and patience
And understanding.
time.
Would you do big wings for me today? Big wings? Big wings. I know, we're in a tight spot here. Big wings.
Oh.
Big wings. Come on, Alvy, fly a
There
little
you
bit.
go.
There we go. Good job. Alvy, mwah. That's, all right,
As you
Alvy.
can tell, he loves his birds.
Oh, my. And, you know, the myths again, the screaming, the biting. Now, being a prey animal with the eyes on the side of the head, they will not bite unless they are motivated to bite.
Oh.
People say, I want to hold the bird. And I say, if you put your hand. Now, a lot of parrots will use their beak to actually help them step up, like a third foot.
Oh.
And many people, they see that hand, the beak coming, and they say, oh, he's going to bite me. And they'll say, nope, go ahead, step up. Oh, he's going to bite me. Now, the bird doesn't play that game too long. It's what I try to say is, if I ask you to sit in a chair, and I'm holding the chair, and you go to sit down, I pull the chair away, well, and you fall. But I'm as nice as can be. No, you're such a good baby. And here, have a seat. And you go to sit down again, and I pull the chair. Now, how many more times are you going to sit in that chair?
You got it.
You know, with me. And it's the same with the bird. You have to understand that they will use the beak
Very good
just
point.
to help them step up. So you can actually teach that bird to bite in that way. Same thing with punishment. They don't understand any punishment. They
They're a
say, my
bird.
bird bit me,
They're a bird.
so I put him back in the cage. Well, you do that enough times, you're teaching the bird how to go back to his own territory. And anytime he wants to go back, maybe he sees somebody throw a treat in his dish, all he's going to do is bite you and wonder, okay, this is how I go back. And these are just some of the things that people really need to understand.
Yes.
When it comes to the screaming, the biting. You want to
They
go way
really,
up top?
really and truly need to know. It's a dream. I've always dreamt of having one, but I just always respected the fact that, you know, they just need somebody that truly knows every little thing about their life.
It is honestly like a full-time job.
Yes, it is.
It really is.
Yes, it is. And when they start that screaming, that's wild and crazy.
Right.
And Kenny, if you want to touch on like diet and feathering.
Oh,
and
yeah.
things
Sure,
like that.
sure. And again, with the screaming and the biting, they'll develop bad habits. They will actually pull their feathers out in frustration, and you know, when they're screaming and they want that attention, you know, if you're home, you know, you go running into the room. Well, now they associate that with they get that attention.
For every action, there's a reaction.
Exactly, right. And so now when they're not getting that reaction, though, I have a green wing at home, such like Alvy. She has no feathers. She was in a very small cage. My wife and I were on vacation, actually, and a lady at a pet store had said, you know, we know of this bird, and I felt horrible, so we went over and saw her. She's just destroyed all of her feathers. They're in real bad shape. And it's almost like a bad habit, like chewing your fingernails. And sometimes you can get that habit to break, sometimes you can't. She's been vet checked medically, she's fine, but it's just that, and she's not in a cage at home, she has free roam of the aviary. But again, it's just that the bad habit.
Do you think maybe in time she'll quit?
Well, we hope.
As long as the feather follicles, if they are viable, you know, and can produce feathers, you know, with the proper diet and the interaction, and you want to keep the bird, its mind off of itself. Other things to chew on, to preen with, and yes, because I've seen it and done it myself, and sometimes it takes years.
Long
Yeah.
time.
But
yeah.
but when they understand that now they are allowed to be a bird. It's not every time somebody comes in the room they tighten up like, oh, what's going to happen today?
Oh, God. Well, it takes a long time to teach a bird something. It just doesn't happen like right now. So please understand that one. That's very, very important. Just what John just said now. It may take her years to feel secure and safe enough. And if you do spend enough time, then she'll forget about herself and put herself to you. But it takes a while.
And that's what people need to understand is when, again, with the longevity, how long they live, and that time that you put into the bird is what you're going to get the reward from.
Exactly.
They need that constant attention, and like I said, when they don't get that is when they start the bad habits, the destructive of not only the area they're in, which by nature they love to chew wood. They need to destroy things, and they do, and people don't understand that. And they say, well, it keeps eating the door trim on in the room. Well, that's what birds do.
That's what they do.
They just don't get it. But when they do start to pull their feathers, and as long as they're vet checked, make sure that it's not a medical issue. Because as far as the diet goes, also, it's very important for what they eat. You want the bird to eat what is natural to them.
Baby.
We're going to talk a little bit also about our website, which is www.thatguywiththebirds.com. We're also on Facebook, That Guy with the Birds as well. I'd love to have you stop by and give us a like. We do keep our site up to date as far as any public places that we will be. We'd love to have you come out and hold the birds, ask any sort of questions.
They can talk to John about doing a show too.
Absolutely.
Right?
Oh, yes.
Absolutely.
Yes,
And we
you
do
can get-
all ages. I do preschool,
nursing homes,
seniors, AARP groups, scouting groups, birthday parties. We have programs
Yes.
that are keyed to any type of an
Yes, it
occasion.
does.
Summer reading programs.
Terrific.
We really like to get the children involved with reading, not computer games, to get back to the library
wonderful
to
show.
read. And we do push that when it comes to summer reading. So check the website, come out and see us, and always happy to see you folks.
Well, I guess it's time to say bye.
How fast it goes.
Oh, I know. It just breaks my heart. It really does. I hope you learn the most important thing of all. Please do not get a bird, one of these great, big, beautiful birds, unless you are very well educated about them. It's sad. There's no words to tell you how sad it is for them. Like always, I love you. You mean a lot to me. I'm going to cry. I always cry. I do. The things that you say to me when I see you, it's so wonderful. So, thanks from all the tail waggers.